right. I sincerely hope we've made some improvements.
I hope so too.
I mean, and if not,
Let's roll with it.
the show must go on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of William versus the World. This is a conversation and live stream about the music industry, independent music, social media, and technology. That was the most boring intro I've ever done, and I like it that way. I'm trying not to make the mic do anything crazy. How does it sound?
Sounds good. It sounds good to me.
Well, it sounds good here. Does it sound good there? What about there? Is that a little better, maybe? No. What the fuck is going on? That is the craziest thing ever. You know, it's crazy too because we put a pop filter in the microphone. We did all the things that musicians would do. That's fine. Fuck it. You look like you need to say something, but it'll be muffled. Say it.
Sometimes when you ask on the podcast how the mic sounds, I always forget that you're not asking me necessarily.
You want to know why? Because in the
Like,
band,
I'm so used to you asking that, like in the band room. I mean, like, you guys sound awesome. This needs to go up a little bit more.
this is a professional breakdown.
This is a different.
Yeah.
This is a different. How does it sound?
Yeah, it's different. Normally, we're asking you. And like and Cupcake here says it's muffled on her end. Cupcake, that's kind of like what we're going through right now. So Cupcake, we started the stream, at which point our producer and wonderful lead singer of the band, Metaverse Melissa, discovered that we were muffled. This is new. This has never happened to us before. If there's anything we don't like, it's living muffled. And then we shut down the stream, and we put a pop filter. We put a new pop filter in the microphone. We checked the phantom power. We reconnected all the cables. Checked the boxes. Rebooted OBS, and this is what we got. So we're gonna go with it. Inblog says he considers himself the luckiest man in the world. Why is that?
Oh.
I don't doubt you.
No.
But did you bring enough for the rest of the class?
Yeah.
What's up, Franco? So, Lexi, today's episode is about local bands and audience and draw.
I like this topic.
This is the number one topic. This is the number one topic. Every local band is going to be really grateful that my microphone is muffled. We might have to do this episode when my microphone is clear.
Yes. But until then, turn on the closed captioning.
I mean, we could talk about our dreams or something like that, or the barbecue next Thursday. Because if you are an independent artist, this is either the episode to tune into and focus in on. If you are a live performer and you're a fan of touring or playing out as a band, this is the episode you want to tune into. I mean, like, we realize it. Not everybody that has songs on iTunes and Spotify want to get up on stage in front of 10 people and play that song. Not all recording musicians want to go on tour or be on stage performing in front of a live audience. People just don't think of that.
No.
That's modern musicians. Modern musicians, they don't all, and it's true historically too, not all studio musicians. Some of the greatest records in the world, you never seen them guys on stage.
That's true.
Some of the greatest performers and talented people that you've heard on hundreds of thousands of records, you'd never be able to put a face to. Most people don't even know the names of the other band members performing on stage of their favorite bands.
No.
People will say, "Oh my God, I love rock and roll." And you'll say, "Okay, great. Name some of your favorite bands." They'll struggle. And the ones that don't, ask them if they know the members of the bands or the contributing composers. You know what I mean? Like, people say they love a band or they're big fans of a movie director, but they
don't know all the band members, and they don't know all the band members and all the extra people that it took to write the song. They don't know the producer of the songs.
Right. So
They don't know their manager.
So how much of a and I'm not criticizing nobody. I'm just saying how much of a fan are you? How much of say I'm a big fan. People love saying what they're not a big fan of.
Oh yeah.
Today, nobody's a fan of anything. You say you like Captain Crunch, I'm not a fan of that. You say you like rock and roll, I'm not a big fan of it. Everyone's quick to tell you nowadays of all the things that they're not a big fan of, as if that's fucking cool. Think about it. All the people that go out of their way to tell you all the shit that they're not a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, hey, you want to try this? Oh, I'm not really a fan of that. Hey, man, you want to come on? I'm not a big fan of that. Everyone goes right out of their way.
People will go and give you a whole novel of all the things they don't like.
They're not a fan of.
All the things they are complaining about.
People can't wait to tell you about all the bands they think suck. All the movie producers they're not a fan of. As if being a fan of things is valuable. As if not being a fan of things is somehow valuable.
Yeah, like you're
Excuse
saying
me.
like an upper hand.
Right, like somehow.
I like avocados. I don't.
Right, I'm
Okay.
more unsatisfied with everything than you are. Gotcha.
Now it's a but now what they are now introducing is a whole new line of competition, and that is all the things that you don't like.
Yo, it's crazy. It's like, how do we get
so
here?
negative.
Right.
Before we used to teach people positive
Right.
competition. Now it's like let's have a competition of
I
all
think-
the things that I like and you don't like.
I think what you're referring to is good sportsmanship.
Yes.
But there's nothing wrong with pointing out the things that are really great.
But not when you're doing it in a way where like you're trying to one up
Asshole.
somebody.
Yeah, I guess it's not polite.
No, it's rude.
So if you're a live performing musician, you might have noticed that things have changed a lot in the last 10 to 15 years. And one of the major things that has been affected in live entertainment is the audience. A lot of, and not just small artists. I was just looking at a popular rapper today. And of course, people make jokes about this sort of thing, but they'll say, ha ha, look at this artist, they haven't sold amount of tickets or whatever. Like, people can't wait to point out when artists fail selling pre-sale tickets. I noticed that that's a fun thing for people to do online. And I don't care so much about that. But the point I'm trying to make is it's been harder for the largest artists to promise that they can sell pre-sale tickets. The largest artists in the world are having a hard time drawing audiences that they used to. So if you were in a local band, maybe you drew audiences at this level. Okay? And then, post, 2020, in the last 5 years, a lot of people have been affected, by draw and audience and a lack of people wanting to go out to see live shows and live bands perform.
Yeah.
Yes. So I have to tell you a story. In my story, because I don't want to come on the internet and just like share from somebody else's experience, but recently we played a show in the last year, and without revealing any main players. One of the shows we played last year, I remember us drawing only 60 to 70 people. Do you remember what show I'm referring to?
Yes.
At the end of the show, I have it on video, but there were a handful of bands at the show. More than your traditional rock and roll show, It was a specialty show.
Yeah.
On our way out, I was high-fived and welcomed back by the establishment. They were very polite. And don't get me wrong, they were very professional through and through, okay? But through the grapevine, and you never know if these things are true, but through the grapevine, I heard some unfortunate commentary. Rumor has it that we only drew 70 people, or whatever it was, 60, 50, whatever it was. Pretend it was 50, okay? For the sake of talking points and for the story, with margin of error, let's call it 50 people. Rumor has it we failed because sepsis was only... Rumor has it, even though we got the high five at the end of the night and we were welcomed back and we were invited back and it was really positive and everybody was professional and polite, rumor has it they were disappointed that our band was only able to draw 50, 60 attendees for the show. I think the capacity of the room is 300 or 400. I mean, that would be nuts to butts, but nonetheless, there was a handful of other bands on the bill, and without taking the attention off myself, yeah, I think we could have done better. Traditionally, in the circumstance that we were in, I feel like we could have had a better draw. But there's been shows when I felt like we could have had better draw, and there were shows when I've been completely overwhelmed with the amount of people that were there. We've had to adjust for that too. I think that we've had a lot more empty rooms in the last 15 years than we've had packed rooms. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but is that unique to our band?
No.
Like, for instance, we're a local band. We don't promote ourselves to be anything different. We're a local and regional New England band, and I don't promote the band as anything different. So, to me, a local band drawing 25 to 50 people, I think is really good. If the bands that I normally booked to partner up with us always brought 25 or 50 people, we'd have nail 'em in the coffin shows. Look, I'm not talking fresh. This is just the truth of the matter. If you've got 4 bands on the bill and every single band member brought 5 people, you know what I mean? You got over 100 people in the building without counting the bartenders. So today's topic is just about that. So, like, how many bands that are local or regional, how many local or regional bands in New England do you know that, how many local bands in New England do you know that draw 25, 30, 40 people a week or a month? What bands do you know of on the tip of your tongue? What local bands can you name that put 25 or 30 or 50 people in the room week over week, end over end in their own area at the same locations, in the same cities, in the same region? In a region where every band here shares fans. In New England, all the bands share fans. We all share the same fans. What bands in New England can we put in the comments? Not because we hate them and we want to put them on the Holy Cross, because we want to learn from them. We want to be able to admire them and support them, cheer them on, and learn from them. Not because we want to troll them and plagiarize them and be mean. No, so we can fucking learn from them. If there's a business model out there where local bands are bringing in or drawing 40, 50, 60, or 80 a show, what bands are they? Please put them in the comments.
Please.
Because I'm fucking tired of promoters and people that own venues in buildings pretending like local bands should be expected to draw more than 25 people. What local band do you know draws 25 people every show in New England? Put them in the comments. And why, if the bands are pressured to bring 25 people, how come the bartenders are not pressured to bring 25 alcoholics?
How come the promoters aren't bringing people?
How come the promoters are not pressured to bring 25 people? If bands are supposed to bring 25 people, and that's the business model, then why aren't the venue owners, why aren't they offering 25 places to park?
Right.
You can't say to a local band, we need you to promise us 25, 75 people.
And you don't have 200 parking spaces.
You can't tell a band, promise me that you're going to bring 50 people, and you promise them none.
Yeah. Why just leave it up to the bands? You're the people putting the show together. You're the people that bought
I don't have
venue area.
Look, and if there's a venue and they're like, look, we just don't book bands that don't bring.
That's fine.
Right, that's fine.
That's fine. But what are you bringing?
So if you're a band, so for instance, you know, we've heard recently promoters getting upset because the audience members don't drink enough beer. But that's like going to the bar and saying, you guys don't bring enough rock and roll.
Or going to the bar and saying you don't have enough alcohol.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so not only are the bands expected to sell tickets, we're also expected to sell parking lots, and we're also expected to promote the event. We're supposed to do art for the event. We're supposed to keep track of all the bands, and we're supposed to sell booze.
Okay, so what are they doing?
That shit is crazy. So how are bands expected to bring 25 audience members, put the whole show together, not get paid, and sell booze?
And do all the advertising.
So I'm going to ask the question again. How many people should local bands be expected to draw on the regular? For real. Based on everything I just said.
Right.
That's the story for today. I want to put up on the screen so you guys can see. Cupcake goes, and it's their establishment. Well, what I'm saying is not for bands to disconnect and throw a temper tantrum. Learning all of this. This is just something to think about prior to booking and partner up on shows with bands and promoters. Because
You know what you're getting into.
yeah, because if I'm, if you're a band that's drawing 50 to 75 people, a month, or even a season, then you got yourself a career, and you don't need none of those lousy venues or any promoter that's not willing to meet you in the middle. That's what I'm saying. If you're a local band and you're scoring 50 people a shot, 50 people a gig, then you've got more than negotiating power, is what I'm telling you. The last thing you should be doing is giving your money to somebody else. The last thing you should do is fork over your success to a manager or a middleman, is what I'm saying. All right, check this out. So here was when I'm gonna read some of these for people that messaged us back, and hopefully we can hear from some of you guys in the comments too. So the question today was, how many guests should local bands be expected to draw at each local or regional show? Now I understand there's like a lot of factors that go into that, right? What's the capacity of the room? What bands are you booking with? How frequent have you played that town or venue? Did you invest in the show? Did you put up digital ads? Maybe hang flyers? Did you do any promotionals? Did you connect with any business-to-business sponsorships or other people that could support the show and help you with brand awareness? Did you book the show calendar out long enough to promote appropriately? Did you book the show on a day that's going to be difficult for people to come and see you, like Christmas? Right? So there's a lot of factors that go into having a successful show. And a lot of times promoters and venues are counting on lazy and uneducated musicians to make mistakes. Because let's face it, Lexi, think about this. If you were a local band and you were playing the best venue in town and you were getting 150 to 300 people there every time you went, then you could quit your fucking day job. But there's another problem. The venues and promoters would no longer be taking advantage of an unsuccessful, dreamy musician.
So they're not going to book with you.
They're going to have to report that on their taxes. Do you see the issue there?
Yeah.
If Sepsis goes and plays Jewel and we knock it out of the park and we make 15 grand there every time we play, they're going to have to start reporting that by law.
And they don't want to.
So when people are like, how come? Because it never, people always ask me, why do venues keep booking bands that can't draw and then bitch about the attendance? What is it? Tell me like I'm two. What is the fine print? Why do they continue doing it? And it's the same reason why Chicken Hawk or Predator record labels will sign unsuccessful bands and shelf them. Because a successful band, you have to report on your taxes. If you're having big, successful heavy metal shows and they're making it in the news, if you're a local band and you're killing the same venue, pulling $15,000 every time you play it, word gets around. And not only do you have to report it on taxes, but all the other bands in the scene start cannibalizing on that one band.
Yeah, because of money.
Everybody wants to open up for the band that draws 50 attendees every time they play. If there was any New England band that had the ability to draw 30 people every time they played a gig, that band would be washed out because you would have a line of bands trying to absorb their draw.
Yeah, cloud chasers. It's all for clout.
Because
money.
because if you're not headlining or co-headlining in this scene, people don't draw.
Yeah.
Local bands don't want to draw attendance. And it's not that that's not their intention, that's not their dreams and aspirations. No. It's fucking difficult. And they don't want to do it.
Yeah, so they'll piggyback on the people that can.
I mean, and that's the model. That's the age-old business model of really talented bands never being heard because they don't have the money to open up for national or established touring acts. All right. Cupcake said, but you guys, the artists, are bringing the entertainment. They should promote you in turn for you using their place. And you know, some do. Like some will share a Facebook post. But these aren't things that make successful shows. We're not in 2002.
Especially when you call yourself a promoter. It's literally in the name. Like your job description is the title of that which you call yourself. If you are a promoter, your job is to promote the show.
Yeah.
To the highest ability, probably more so than most of the bands that are on the bill. You're
Well,
a promoter.
let's hear what some of the other people. There were some other people here that chimed in. Don said, I go to a lot of shows at various size venues. If a band has a following, then there is no reason they shouldn't draw 45 to 50 capacity just on their own, especially if they've been away for some time. If they hit that number, then if they can't hit that number, then they're at the wrong venue. So kind of what Don is saying here is interesting. I kind of like what he says a little bit. He said that he hates seeing bands play to emptiness. I'm going to tell you right now, as a band, I would much rather play in front of 150 awesome fans that were familiar with my music or had great attitudes about Discovery than I would be playing in front of 1,000 people that weren't interested in what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like we've played tattoo festivals and demolition derbies and all kinds of goofy shit. We played Walmart once. The point I'm trying to make is we've played places where they just don't care about rock and roll. You could be playing in front of 2,000 people if they're not interested. It would be better playing in front of a room of 50 people who loved it.
Yeah.
That's just as an artist. But he says as a fan, he hates seeing bands play to emptiness.
I can understand that as a fan.
Yeah.
I can understand that as a fan because you want to see your band or bands be in front of a lot of people doing what they love.
You're rooting for them.
Right. That's an amazing thought to have.
Yes. This other guy, Dan, he says, oh shit, my fault. Sorry about that. Surprise! Welcome back. Hey, we're back. Right.
That's our next segment.
Right. Good thing I didn't click that other screen. So Dan says, this is Dan. It's got a sepsis reply too. We'll see what that is. It would depend on the day of the week that the show is on. I agree with him there.
You make a very solid point with that.
I can see during the week shows may be tough for some folks to attend, and weekend shows will be easier for people to attend. This goes back to what I was saying. You don't want to book a show on Christmas.
Right.
He also said his opinion, it comes down to how a band promotes their shows as well as if the venue does any promotion for the shows. That goes back to kind of what you were touching on earlier, if people are partnered up right. That usually never happens mutually.
Yeah.
The bands are still expected to bust their ass. The bartender does not bust their ass to get in 10 alcoholics.
Yeah, because it's in their mind that, okay, you're the band, so you're the X, so you're the one that brings the people.
The band,
that's their thought.
The local bands are expected to park the guests. The local bands are expected to create all of the art, the flyers. The bands are expected to do all the footwork. The bands are expected to keep in touch and coordinate with all the other bands and the sound guy and everything else. The bands are expected to be on time and usher people in accordingly. The bands are expected to play music, of course. And the bands are also expected to do this for fucking free.
No.
So just remember, that local bands are expected to play for free a lot of the times, break even. And the thing is, like, if you don't bring in fans of music, the venue's going to bitch. You know what else they're going to bitch about? They're also going to bitch if you don't bring in boozers. But here's the thing. If the bands don't bring in an audience, the venue owners and promoters don't go to the bar and bitch that there's not rock and roll fans.
Yeah. That's not cool. No.
Right. My brother joked years ago about a level of rock band game where the bar declines paying your band because people didn't drink enough. I just fucking said that. That's fucking real. What he just said is real.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a rumor.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah. 100%.
I didn't know I was going to read that. That's why.
He's keeping it a beat.
Wow, that is something else. Miner says only play with 5-piece bands makes the crowd look bigger. That's funny. I feel that. In Oklahoma, usually 10 to 15. We have the promoter here in the state that actually books a lot of the local bands to open for national touring acts. Old band opened up for Nine Electric and Stitched Up, which introduced a lot of their fans to their band. But our fans were introduced to those guys as well. And it was really a great night. Thank you, Casey. That's such a great actual bit of experience and education for everybody in the chat. See, to me, that seems real. In Oklahoma, the local bands are expected to bring 10 to 15 people. To me, that's real, man.
That makes sense, honestly.
That seems so fucking natural.
That makes perfect sense.
So when venues and promoters are asked to their face, how many people should local bands be bringing as guests, and how much, to what frequency should bands be playing at any given venue? Because to me, if you're the promoter, right, you know if that artist has played that venue in the last 6 months, right?
Right.
So if an artist is frequenting a venue or an area too much, is that the band to figure out, or the promoter?
The band.
The band too, maybe.
And also the promoter.
The promoter, to me, that's organizing the show should know, holy shit, this band played here last week.
Yeah.
If you book,
on it.
if you're the promoter and you're the organizer for such and such venue, how do you not know that Rock and Rollosaurus Rex played last Friday?
You'd be dumb if you didn't know that.
So if you're booking them again, you're really not cut out for this shit.
Yeah, you really got to find some other bands.
You got to find a new job.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, you know?
Mm-hmm. And also, if you're going to take on the job, you should figure out what the job is supposed to do. Like, what is your duties?
And as a promoter, one of the duties is understanding that the fucking artists are ambitious and they're going to take getting on stage, they're going to take an opportunity to play guitar every Friday.
So fuck with them.
So artists, you know that dreamy, excited kids on the weekend are going to want to, even 40-year-olds, are going to want to get on stage and play. So if you're a promoter, stop booking the same bands at the same venues too frequently.
And let them play.
You have to book bands in a way where the bands are cycling, in a way where people get to discover new bands and then see the ones that they like enough, but not too much, where they're losing attendance. You can't
putting on a show.
Right, you can't book Sepsis at the same venue 3 times a year and then expect Sepsis to pack it.
It's not going to work.
It's not realistic. You can't book Scarecrow Hill at the same venue every Friday and then get mad when 100 people don't show up. If you ask them and you're like, hey, do you guys want to play? They're instrumentalists and musicians. If you ask a musician if they want to play music, what are they going to say, everybody?
Yeah.
Yes. If I ask all of my musician friends, do you want to come and sit on my porch and make loud noises? They're going to be over. They're coming over. If I say, let's go to a Guitar Center and tear the place up and riff out, people are going to meet me there. Guys, musicians will jump at anything to play anything. Isn't it obvious already from Spotify, from festivals, that musicians will go broke? They'll embarrass themselves. They'll fall head over heels. They'll play for free over and over and over and over again. And that is the exact business model that promoters and venues are exploiting. They know, they can predict that the artist will play every Friday night if given the opportunity to have a residency on their stage. Are you familiar with a residency?
A residency?
Yes. It's a musical thing. Let me explain it to you. A residency is when you have a house band. When a band show, when you favorite a band, you have a bar or a venue, you love the band so much, you say, hey man, I love this band so much, you guys are welcome to come every Sunday and have a residency. Meaning it's that band every Sunday night, they have residency. You can't outbook them. They're booked.
That makes sense.
They're the bar's band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. They have a partnership.
Yeah. And in situations like those, I'm sure it makes sense. I'm just saying.
Of course.
Any thoughts on this?
New. I learned what residency.
My son just did that at Guitar Center. Exactly.
Right. This is such an interesting topic.
It's interesting because people have beliefs about it. I'm just talking business.
And that's what I find so interesting of it, is how distorted the business has been since the creation of entertainment.
Yeah, like you can get into the belief systems and all of that, and I understand that's a whole passionate
but
field.
But that's going to cloud the whole business side of things.
Dude, I'm just asking a straight up question that very few people can look me in the fucking eye and tell me. All the people that say that they're qualified to be in the music industry, when I pick up their chin and I say, look me in the fucking eye, and I say, how many people should local bands be drawing at any given particular venue? At what frequency? I realize that there are many different parameters that go into this. I realize the size of the venue and the bands, that we can go over the whole thing again. So, when people are asked this question, they start throwing in pointless data like that. To veer and steer away from just answering that and understanding that local bands don't draw 50 people. When they play routinely, consistently, or traditionally, even at a residency, give me one band in New England that draws 30, 40, or 50 people. Just one. Just give me one band that has done that. What band draws 30, 40 people a season? You know what I'm saying? Most bands play a couple times a month. New England is a 6-state region. You could do a tour in New England in a day. I'm asking. And the reason why I'm asking is because I'm tired of promoters and venue owners booking bands they know can't draw more than 50 people and then complaining about attendance. My answer is simple. It's not fuck those guys and we're not friends with those guys. My answer is stop booking bands that can't promise you the draw you're looking for. But if bands have to promise venues, the day bands have to promise to have 25 attendees, the bar should promise to have 25 alcoholics.
Fair is fair.
The promoter should have to bring in 25. And here's another one. In the New England scene, there's an elephant in the room. So I'm gonna say the quiet part out loud. The headliner and the co-headliners are expected to draw more than the people that open the show. I'm the only one that's ever fucking just said it. So, when shows only score at 60 to 70 attendees, they blame the headliner. If you had a band, this is a hypothetical band we're talking about, because no bands in New England draw 50 people every time they have a gig. But if you did, people would blame them for low attendance because all the smaller bands would cannibalize. They would all try to book with that one band that consistently gets 15 audience members. Those bands would try to absorb those audience members, and then the headliner would only get blamed for having a low attendance because all of the bands that were trying to absorb the headliner's attendance would bring no people. Dude. What do we do? And I figured it out. We all got to admit that local bands don't draw. Nobody does. No local bands draw. They don't. And when I say draw, I mean 75 people. You know what I mean? There is no local, I'm going to say this crystal fucking clear. I'm going to break everybody's heart, whether they like it or not. There are no New England bands that can consistently draw 30 to 50 to 80 people a gig consistently. Because if they could, we would know of that band and we would be supporting them and learning from them and rooting them on and opening up for them. So that shows you how to not get fooled into the mirage of the local music scene. That shows you how not to get punked off by venues, by other bands. Other bands do it too. Other bands pretend that they're drawing numbers.
But it's just you going to be the one drawing the number.
There's so many of us in this scene that are all depending on a manufactured image that we draw and that we're successful and that we're loving this thing and that it's working for all of us. Literally, people's brands and banners depend on them looking like they're having a good time. Are you having a good time if you have to lie about it?
No.
Of course not. Nobody wants to get up there and admit, hey, man, none of these people came for me. That's the shitty thing about opening up for big acts. Is none of those motherfuckers came there for you.
And also, you wouldn't be feeling that way if you brought your own audience.
Woo!
If it's just the headliner's audience in the room, you bet your ass they're not there to see you. They're there to see the headliner.
I was going to say, most people that I know in local bands cannot get their friends or family or neighbors to ever consider going to one of their shows unless there's some celebrity or an influencer or somebody else that they've heard of. You know that neighbors hate supporting their local bands. People that are your friends and family, people that pretend or will say that they're close to us, are the last people to buy a ticket to a Sepsis show.
And it's those same types of people and family members that only want to go to something if there's something in it for them.
Every time.
There has to be something in it for them, for those types of people to feel like that is valuable or that they should spend their money and get up and go to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a bribe.
What's in it for me?
It's a bribe.
Yeah. That's how most consumers are today. That's how they think. If there's nothing in it for them, then they're not going to do it.
You know, we make more fans that come and go with that mentality than anything else. That people go, I think by being a fan of Melissa, I think by being a fan of Sepsis that I'm going to spiral up, or I'm going to benefit, or I'm going to be in the in crowd, or I'm going to absorb some of their audience, or I'm going to, there's so many people that don't realize that we're just a local band.
And that's why I like being with local bands like Sepsis that will be like, we're just a local band.
Because the entire industry is counting on their fans and all the bands to be intimidated by their success. That's not something we're looking forward to.
Right. And there may not be something in it for you besides being there and enjoying the music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't that what you're really spending your money on? Why does there have to be something extra for you than that? That's not realistic.
No, I mean, we're close.
You're asking for too much as a consumer.
For sure.
If that's what's stopping you for spending $5 to go see Joe Schmo at Casey's down the road, if that's what's stopping you, then why even bother spend the money?
You want to know my theory? Saying that you support local music, it illustrates that you're a team player, that you're a community member, that you support your neighbors, that you're a nice guy. You know, when you say, support local, man, support local music rocks, you know, people that look at your Facebook feed, you know, people that look at your Instagram post, all your little wannabe friends in the scene, it makes you seem like you're generous, you know, it makes you seem like you're part of the club. But it's not really what people say, it's always what people do. And we know we know people hate local and original music because they don't go to watch it. We know people don't like watching their neighbors perform on stage. We know people don't like original music. We know people don't like rooting for talented people that they know. We know that. And we know when the fans feel like they've gotten to know the artists, they're only one street away from betraying them. Because once people think that they know you and find out that there's nothing in it for them, they stop pretending to support you. Saying that you support local music in a Facebook post sounds really good for the person that's saying it. But us musicians know better than that. Because we can see who's downstage at every show. And none of you motherfuckers are there.
And also to the people, not just the fans, the musicians, the venue owners, the promoters. If you're at the end of the night going, there could have been more people here, or this could have happened, or that could have happened. You could have done, instead of blaming and trying to point the finger and try to find the bad apple, why not take that and challenge yourself and be like, what could I have done? You know, if you're a fan and you're like, oh, there could have been more people here. Maybe you could have brought a friend with you. Maybe you could have brought your wife.
That's always blown my mind, too, because, like,
Same
I'm
with the
not-
musicians.
if-
You could have did a little bit more promoting or trying to get more people in the door. You know, I'm a merch person. I'm the merch girl for Sepsis. And sometimes we've had really great nights, and I'm like, we could have done this, and I'll put all the pieces together and be like, we could have done more, we could have done more. I do that with every show. So as the merch person, I have those same thoughts too. And I'm like, what could I have done?
Right. No, because
You know, could I have talked to this person a little bit more than I
sure,
did?
for
Could
sure.
I, you know, like there's always
I
something
think-
for the person that's asking the question for them to then look deeper in and be like, what could I have done? Because I'm
what
a
you're
player in
what you're
this.
talking about is taking responsibility. What you're talking about is
Yes.
measuring the night and making adjustments and improvements, and then measuring and monitoring
and managing what could have been a good or good not night in a responsible way.
The other
so
thing-
that
The other thing I want to say is, like, as a fan of music, I don't give a fuck who's at the show. Like when we went to go watch the show, the Under Horizon show and Vermilion and all of that, we didn't get ready to go support that band. We go out as a band to support, you know, a handful of shows a year. We don't tell anybody we're coming. We don't announce it online.
yeah, it's fun.
It's not about us. We just go out and we rock with the bands. We meet the fans. We meet the people that are participating in the show. We just go to be a supportive presence. But we never get ready to go support a band and then stop mid-support and go, wait a minute. We never question how many people the band's going to draw.
no.
We just go and support the fucking music.
Why do you need to worry about it?
I never like, if I'm going to go support a band, I'm never like, but is Cheryl and Tina and Jeff and Danny going to be there? Like, if I'm going to go support a band, it's not because I need somebody else's approval or motivation. I just support art because I like art. I just support bands because I support music, because I support my neighbors. It's not a grift. It's not a gimmick. It's not a magic trick. It's not a bartering tool. It's not to be weaponized. It's not for clout chasing. It's not for a Facebook post. And I don't give a shit who's in the audience. If I'm going to go support a band, I'm just going to go support the band, buy some merch, and listen to music. I don't need all of these belief systems, mythology.
No.
Yeah. All right. So we got a little bit short for time, but that's okay. I'm going to end it with this one here because I think it fits. 7 reasons why people aren't coming to your shows. Number 1. I'm going to blow this shit up so everybody can read it. This is the part of the show where it's finally not my opinion. Number 1, are there any local bands on your bill? When planning a tour, even when you're traveling with another band and sharing bills with them as you go, having a local opener can really help out your draw. At the very least, a handful of their friends and significant others are bound to come out and support them. And the endorsement of a known local entity is an implicit recommendation of your band. There you go. Does the bill make sense? While booking outside your normal circles is always a good thing to keep in mind, you have to balance the desire to step outside the familiar with an awareness of how compatible your sounds on the bill may be. I agree with that. Like if you sound like Sepsis, you might not want to play or book the Polish Danish club. You know what I mean? Like you might not want to. Might be difficult. Maybe you're good friends with a particular band, but while you may be close on a personal level, it doesn't necessarily mean the same for your sound. Come on, we know that. How many like killer death metal bands have we booked and just confused the shit out of everybody? It's not that they didn't love the music. We love death metal. But when we as a band book with 10 death metal bands, you know, people tend to be confused. We've seen bands do this. Especially in New England where there's so much variety. You'll see 10 bands on a bill and they all sound so different. Sometimes that's good, but not always. Rarely. Like if you hate country, you're not going to sit in the room and mosh out to country. You know what is a very good example of this was Nima. All award.
Oh
No.
my.
Dude, think about it. They're all award-winning artists playing different genres on the same stage. It's like, what the fuck are we looking at?
That's New England.
Right.
It's the New England Music Awards, so look at what you're going to be watching. New England Music Award winners.
I'm trying to clap you out here because that was a good one. How come when you do that, it works?
I don't know.
Anyways. Have you done any promotion for the show? Sure, a passive Facebook post and a tweet are better than nothing. And you asked earlier about venues and promoters promoting. That's what they do, Lexi. They post and they tweet, and that's about it. Sometimes they might throw up $100. To me, to Sepsis, that's not advertising. To Sepsis, that's not promoting. But bands think that Facebook and a tweet is better than nothing. But ain't no shame in pounding the pavement to get the word out. If you're already in the town where your show is happening, hang flyers and give a stack of local record stores to pass out. Whether it's your hometown or tour stop. What is this, fucking 1988? They talk about record stores. Anyways, talk to the venue about ways they may be able to help you promote the show. This sounds good, but a lot of venues aren't hanging out with artists building shows. Like, this sounds good in this article. That's not realistic. I'm going to keep it a bean. I don't, you know what I mean? There are very few promoters. Like Hot Rod might, you know what I mean? Like somebody that we know with a venue that sit down, and that's different. Like a friend. Professional venues are not sitting down with guitar players hanging up flyers and doing fucking contests. They come in and bitch about the booze. Anyway. So, yeah, I guess if you can, talk to the venue about ways they may be able to help you promote the show. Create a Facebook event page, pretty stock stuff. You guys already know about all that stuff. Ask the local bands on your bill if they can help get the word out. Dude, that's like pulling teeth. That's like pulling teeth. Yo, let me tell you something right now. It's hard for bands to ask the band members they already have to promote the show or to get attendance. Imagine how hard it is to convince, entertain, or motivate another person's shitty band. Like, think if you are the co-headlining or headlining band that is expected to pull all the draw for everybody. If you're the headliner and you're expected to pull the majority of the draw, everyone already has the attitude like you're the one that's supposed to get everybody in the door. Yo.
We didn't even read this article, y'all, before we came on here. I just want to put a full disclaimer. That whole conversation we had
That's so funny.
for a while before reading this, we had no idea.
Right, hang a flyer. What?
Right.
Imagine me telling other bands, hey, look, you guys got to hang flyers around your city. Nah, people are too well behaved. I'm like, I don't know, Will. I think someone's going to call the cops on us. When I've gone and done flyer parties with people or hung stickers up, they don't want to do it with me. I wear a do-rag. I got face tattoos. No, I'm serious.
I have to laugh.
No, it's funny.
I'm not sorry. I have to laugh.
It's true.
Because you're saying that to, I know you're not saying that to me, but like if you were
right.
saying something like that to me, like let's say you were like, hey, Lexi, you want to go out tomorrow and have a flyer hanging party down in Providence, Rhode Island? I'd be like, yo, fuck yeah.
I don't even want to call nobody out. I've had.
I'd be like, yo, let's do it.
Nah, man. No, man. Nah. These people don't want to. Nah.
They don't want to have fun. These people are not fun. That's why they're not showing up. That's because they know when they show up, they ain't gonna have fun.
Yo, I didn't even have to say it. She said it. I'm just pointing all this shit out. My bad. I'm just pointing all of this out. I'm just pointing it out.
Y'all don't know how to have fun. That's why y'all want to rock with Simpson.
Remember what I said in the beginning of the stream? I said, everybody we know now is too busy pointing out the shit they're not a fan of.
Instead of having fun.
I'm not, right, I'm not, do you want to go to the club? I'm not a real fan of taking drives in the car. Okay, do you want to walk to the club? I'm not a real fan of the club. Okay, you want to go get Chinese? I'm not really a fan of Chinese food. Okay, well, people can't fucking wait to tell you what they're not a fan of. It's like as if it's valuable.
What are you a fan of?
I don't want to know. Can I tell you something? People that aren't a fan of things, I don't want to know what they are a fan of. Fuck them.
That's probably some wild shit.
Right. What do you mean you're not a fan of sub sandwiches? You're not a fan of black guys. You're not a fan of girls. You're not a fan of gays. You're not a fan. What are you not a fan of? You're not a fan of rap music. You're not a fan of metal. You're not a fan of the trees. You're not a fan of, so what?
Are you a fan of breathing?
Right. Most people are not a fan of their current situation. Those are not the type of people I fuck with.
No.
So when I sit down, if you're one of those people that sits around and casually talks about the things that you're not a fan of, know that there are motherfuckers like me that are sitting next to you or in close proximity that are sick to their stomach. When I hear people talk about they're not a fan of something, I'm moving my chair like this. Yeah, I'm not a fan of you.
Mm-hmm. You're dangerous.
Right. I never go to people that aren't fans of music and ask them what they think about Sepsis. Listen, people that hate our band, right? Listen, this is funny. I talk to people that hate our band all the time because I think it's entertaining. Because it's okay with me. My music's not for everybody. It's not even manufactured that way. It's more natural. But what I'm saying is, people that hate our band, sometimes the people that hate our band, I will engage them with more generosity than anybody else. Because they put in more work than anybody else. So when I hear people that are really outspoken and hate our band, I always ask them, then what is your favorite bands? When people are like, fucking Sepsis, you guys suck. When people tell us that our band sucks, I don't get mad at them. First thing I say is thank you for listening to my music. Because you wouldn't know that I sucked unless you listened to my music. Gotcha. So you did more for me than most of my family members would never do. So when people say they hate my music or my music sucks, I always say thank you so much for reviewing and listening to my music, because even my own real friends won't listen to my music. So people that don't like my music and claim that it sucks have done more for me than people that I actually like. They've done me such a service. And then the next thing I always ask them, I always ask people that don't like my music, dude, what is your favorite music? Because if you don't like my music, I'm dying to know what you think is amazing. I'm not mad at you. I don't want everybody to think my music is amazing. But fuck, man, what do you think is amazing? If you think my music is grotesque, I'm dying to know what you think is beautiful. Give me the last 10 bands. Give me the last local 10 bands that you listen to. Give me the last names to 5 songs that local bands have composed. If my music is so fucking terrible, I can only imagine how well versed you are with the music that you like. So you should be able to tell me. Because you hate my music and you've already reviewed it and determined that it sucks, and you've listened to it far more than even my family members or my most trusted friends. So in that sense, I can only imagine the music that you like and what you're willing to do for that. You must go above and beyond for your bands. If you say that my music sucks and you bothered to listen to me, I can only imagine how above and beyond you go for the bands that you support. So which ones are they? Supporter? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, no.
Or the t-shirt.
No, you're just not a fan. And I don't listen to people. I'm never a fan of people that are not fans of people. So people who always say that they're not a fan of nothing, don't listen to them. This one's great. This is what I was talking about earlier. Don't wear out your welcome. It's unlikely that all your fans are going to come to all your shows every time. If you swing through town once a month for a gig, everybody, it becomes less special. And the urgency your fans feel to catch you this time is now diminished. After a certain point, you're competing with yourself. You need to give people time to miss you. That's why when people book Sepsis, I keep telling everybody, we don't book the same venue 60 to 90 days in proximity. Promoters don't understand this. I'll say, why would you try to book me in that town already? We played there, last month. Oh, I was just giving you the show, No. Consider the venue. Some venues are better than others depending on your sound, fan base, and aesthetic. Whether it's a harder rock club, a listening room, warehouse, or even somebody's kitchen. Remember that scene in the Blues Brothers where the guys play a raucous country western bar? You remember that? Move 'em in, move 'em out, move 'em out. Whoosh.
Yeah.
The idea is to show you at your best, and that means playing in a room with the right kind of acoustics, folks that will likely respond to your music. So when you're booking shows, give a cursory look at the venue's past bills to see if you'd be a good fit. Go on social media, maybe look in the last year or two event and flyer calendar and see what type of shows what type of shows that venue has put on in the past. Riley say he's hungry. Cupcake says she's hungry. Everybody's hungry now.
Go have some ice cream.
Cupcake says, hi, Lexi. It's me, Melody. Haha. I forgot. You don't know me by Cupcake.
Hi.
Yeah. I'm afraid that's all we got today. It's 9:15. I was late. We had the technical.
What?
Yeah. It's okay.
I thought it was 8:30.
No. We got to go.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Hopefully you guys had some fun with the discussion today. I'm sorry we were all over the place. My apologies, but we will be back next week, hopefully with a better sounding and more organized show. I appreciate you guys. See you next week for another episode of William vs. the World. And don't forget, we're playing in Providence, Rhode Island in 2 weeks at Platforms. You're crazy if you don't go.
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 William vs. the World.